Pastor George Borgard, and this is another Higher Things video short. Creation and your doubts about Adam. That's the subject of today's Higher Things video short. Hey, if you love these videos, if you've been daring to be Lutheran with us this Lenten season and having a blast while you do it, go ahead and hit like and subscribe for these videos on YouTube. Give us a like on Facebook. Also, you can also go to higherthings.org and hit that big giant donate button. Your tax-deductible gift keeps these videos a-rolling. And so you read the Genesis account and you try to reconcile that with what you learned in school about evolution, and what do? Well, I will give you this fun fact. And this fun fact is that no one can reproduce what occurred at the moment of creation. Evolutionists can't do it, Big Bangers can't do it, and Christians can't do it. And so we can sort of observe what has occurred, but reproduce it? No. And so when you sort of read Genesis and you're sort of discussing Genesis with somebody, it doesn't help to do the circular argument of, well, God created the heavens and the earth. The Bible says it. The Bible's true. And so God created the heavens and the earth. Round we go. That may work for you. The Bible says it, I believe it, that's it. Good for you. But for your neighbor, when you're trying to sort of discuss that with them, it might not help. Or if you have doubts about the text, what do? Well, while we can't prove what happened at the moment of creation, I can prove to you the resurrection of Jesus based upon many, many witnesses. The women who saw him at the tomb, the apostles, Frady Cat apostles, first the 10 of them and then Thomas, the way to Emmaus, those guys, Cleopas and the like, the 500 who witnessed him after his resurrection, says St. Paul. Also, Paul himself. The fruit of the resurrection, that Frady Cat apostles who scatter become martyrs. The fact that the gospel spread out from a certain place where it happened. This is not where some people told people in Jerusalem, hey, by the way, I heard that Jesus died and rose again. And they're like, what? That didn't happen. Let me take you to his tomb. The Frady Cat apostles, too, who all were martyred, terrible deaths, except for John, but all of them martyred terrible deaths, and none of them, not a one, ever said, you know what? I see that you're about to crucify me upside down. Let me take you to where the body is so that we don't have to do this. Or I see that you're about to draw and quarter me. Or cut my head off. And so let me take you where the body is. None of them did that. The witnesses of the resurrection, all of them were faithful unto death. They got a crown of life for that. And so the word of the Lord grew and spread out and spread out from the point in which the resurrection occurred in Jerusalem all the way out. And so what does this have to do with creation? Well, it has everything to do with creation. Because the guy who died and rose again is the guy who says there was an Adam and an Eve. That guy who lives, Jesus, he's the one who says God created the heavens and the earth. He made them male and female. When you struggle with Genesis, look to the gospel. Look to the gospel and find in the gospel the comfort and the surety that your faith is founded on fact, not fiction or myth. That Jesus actually died and rose again for you. He did a Lent for you, and then he rose again for you. What happens if you are struggling with this? Is it okay to believe in Jesus but deny creation? Well, the problem with that is your faith is like a wheel, okay? This was the way it was described to me best. Your faith is like a wheel, and all those spokes are the doctrines of your faith that hold the wheel firm. Without those spokes, and when you start removing those spokes, the wheel starts to cave in upon itself, and it's not as strong. So much of our doctrine of Jesus' salvation is tied to Adam and Eve. And so if you remove Adam and Eve, the wheel starts to sort of cave in upon itself. Jesus is the second Adam. He's the one who crushes the serpent's head. He's in the Genesis account itself. But if you try to sort of work from Genesis to Jesus, and you're struggling with what you learned in school, that's a problem. And so work from Jesus backwards. Put your faith not in the text as much as you put it in the Word made flesh, the one who died and rose again for you. He's the one who preaches the text to you. He's the one that makes the scriptures inerrant, without error and unable to err. Without Jesus raised from the dead, our faith is in vain and we're fools. But if Jesus rose from the dead, then it's time to look at Genesis and go, okay, wait a minute. My book has a guy who died and rose again. He says that before Abraham was, I am. He says he was there at the beginning. I'm going to take his word for it. I'm going to struggle through the text and I'm going to take his word for it. And I'm going to trust him and believe him. You see, even if you convince someone that God created the heavens and the earth, you still haven't saved them, or Jesus hasn't saved them yet. They still need to believe in the one who died and rose again for them. So do you. Instead of working from Genesis forward, work at Jesus. Believe in Jesus. Put your faith in the one who died and rose again. And then, once you believe that Jesus died and rose again for you, God creating the heavens and the earth is a no-brainer. Because you knew the guy who was there. You know him. He died for you. He rose for you. He lives for you. He's at the right hand of God for you. That makes Genesis a piece of cake. I'm Pastor George Borghardt, and this has been another Higher Things video short.